He was under pressure from Eli Tomac the whole way, but Ken Roczen won Moto number 1 here at Muddy Creek as he continues to chase his second 450 motocross title. A huge crowd of passionate motocross fans on hand here to cheer him on. Moto 2 from Muddy Creek coming up. We're not far from the motorsports mecca known as Bristol, Tennessee, and a huge crowd of motocross fans are here live for round 5 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing. It's the Red Bull Tennessee National. Hello everyone, Jason Wygant joined by multi-time motocross and supercross champion Grant Langston. It is a hot and humid one here as we go motocross racing in the Southeast. This is one of the most physically demanding sports of all. We already raced earlier today, but this one is for all the marbles. These riders better be rested and ready.
Well, the tough thing is when it's hot and humid is getting the fluids back in the body between motos. They have less than 2 hours to recover. It's not a lot of time. Plus, when you're dehydrated, getting food in the system is very tough because you have no appetite. The track is rough. They've added a lot of water, which means it's very rutted, and it's really tricky for these guys. So second moto is going to be super tough.
And the first moto was darn tough as well. This might have been the best race we've seen all year. Cole Seeley on the 14 is in the lead early, under fire from Ken Roczen on the yellow 94, and Eli Tomac on the 3.
Yeah, Roczen goes right around the outside, and Tomac wasting no time. And the very next turn, he makes a aggressive pass on Seeley, and he would chase after Roczen.
And it was the battle that everyone wanted to see, and Tomac stayed close the entire time. Roczen just able to edge him in the first moto. This is about an hour ago, so not much time again for these riders to get reset for Moto number 2 on a very hot and humid day here in Tennessee. Roczen continues an amazing season. He's won all but one moto so far. Seeley hangs on for 3rd. The Frenchman Christophe Pourcel 4th. That is Moto number 1. Now we're going to show you Roczen's road to victory today. Did a great job in practice, really stepped up his game in the first moto, and Georgia Lindsay had a chance to catch up with Roczen as he has improved big time and is looking to take a second moto win. All right, we're going to take a break here at NBC, and we'll be back for our second moto. Ken Roczen, Eli Tomac. It'll be the rematch from a great moto from earlier today. Who's going to take the weekend overall? We're back here at Muddy Creek. We're going to have a little analysis here, courtesy of the folks at LitPro. That's a GPS device you put in the helmet. Ken Roczen was 4th fastest in practice, but then won the first moto today. Grant, show us how and why.
Well, this is a comparison. We talked about being able to go back and check out the notes. Look, some slight line changes, but the big thing is, second practice, he was at a 2:01. Look at the triple step up, already 0.9 ahead. But in the first moto, his fastest lap was a 1:55, so that's a 6-second difference. How did he do it? As you can see, mixed up some lines, changed things up. Also, I do believe the track was a little bit better overall. But Roczen's a racer. When it's time for the gate to drop, he shows up. So small improvements everywhere. I mean, look at that. That is huge.
And we're going to analyze a few sections here side by side. That's a big uphill triple jump over 100 feet. He's just a little bit quicker in the moto, the race, compared to where he was in practice.
The big thing here, look at that. Look at the line change. He switches over, which is where he was making a lot of time.
Absolutely. So Roczen, one of the smartest riders out here, improved big time. Let's check in with him and introduce Georgia Lindsay on the GoPro starting gate.
Yes, now taking a look at that LitPro really shows the improvements there. Now, Ken Roczen, you had that first moto win. However, it seems to be the hottest race we've had so far, and you were under a lot of pressure from Eli Tomac. Between motos, how did you recover, and do you feel different going into this moto?
Yeah, I recovered well. It seems like we've had, compared to the previous races, we've had a little bit more time to recover. Other than that, the track seems like it's holding the moisture pretty good. There's a few sketchy parts out there, but anytime I can win, I didn't feel like I was riding that good, but anytime I can win is good. So I'm just going to go out there, want to improve on my start and just make it a little bit easier on me and ride a solid race and just be healthy.
Thank you. Best of luck, Kim.
All right, let's get set up to go racing on a difficult track like this. Here is our Fram Tech Tip.
Gibbs Racing. This week's Fram Tech Tip is about flywheels. We'll use the flywheel to control the rate of acceleration. This particular one is a production Yamaha flywheel. This one has the added ring to the outside. This ring adds inertia. So the inertia will actually help control or increase the rate of acceleration for the rider for conditions where it's slippery or there's more traction. That can actually make it better for the rider. And that's this week's Fram Tech Tip.
All right, so you get the bike dialed in, and this is one of the most difficult sections, this big uphill triple jump we call the bomber.
Yeah, the triple step up over 120 feet. Huge elevation. Let's have a look at the track on the Kawasaki track map. There's that big triple step up. See the arrow gets a little sideways. When you land at the top, immediately on the brakes, 180-degree left-hander, back down the hill, and then across this fast boulevard in front of tens of thousands of fans. Ken Roczen was absolutely annihilating the field here. First moto. Have the guys been able to figure out what he's doing better through there? And then you see the twisty part of the track in the back section.
Yeah, a lot more tight corners here than the tracks we had earlier in the season. We'll see if that changes things up. Shout out to the privateer riding for Tenkum Motorsports. Zach Williams wins the Deltran Battery Tender RC Hard Charger Award. He's the rider that made the most passes at our previous race, which was at High Point in Pennsylvania. So good job for the young man out of Minnesota. Heading closer and closer to our final moto of the day in the 450 class after a great first moto that's really set the scene. Less than 2 minutes to go. You see the mechanics using their signboards to cool these riders off. The heat and humidity will be a big factor. That's just one of them as we look at our KTM keys to the moto.
Well, what's tough at this track is the start is important because it's so difficult to pass. So everyone looking for a good start. Bike setup. We saw a lot of changes between practice. It was rough, it was rutted, it's drying out. We've seen guys really scrambling with suspension settings and probably motor settings and recovery. It is hot, it is humid. It's the first real hot race of the Outdoor National Series. Did they recover? Did the guys do the work during the week to come here fit? And did they get what they needed between motos to come out in extremely tough conditions and have a fantastic final moto?
So there is Roczen, the 22-year-old from Germany, has won all but one moto so far this year. 8 out of 9. Looking to complete it today and get the overall victory. But Eli Tomac gave him a heck of a challenge in Moto 1. We'll see if he can do it again.
Yeah, Tomac was on fire. Notice Roczen's gear. Looks like the German flag.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, a little red, yellow
colors.
flag.
He's proud of the heritage, but it was his dream to move to the United States and be able to race motocross and supercross here in America. Now lives in California
It's the
part of the year.
racing mecca of the world, let's be honest.
Fly Racing 30-second card is up. Probably figure out what that means. Less than 30 seconds before you drop the gates, and as the riders say, drop the hammer on this second and final moto to determine the overall winner of this Red Bull Tennessee National. We saw a great battle in the first moto. Cole Seeley led half the race. Roczen and Tomac battled it out to the end. This is the rematch to determine the weekend's best overall rider.
Wait till that car turns sideways. You hear the revs pick up, the butterflies, the intensity.
40 riders rocket into turn one of these 450cc bikes. Brock Tinkle has the whole shot on the Soaring Eagle Jimmy John Suzuki. Good start to the KTMs, the 10 of Justin Brayton, and the 25 of Marvin Musquin. A little bit further back is Roczen, and Tomac is right in front of Roczen right now on the green number 3.
Oh, this is a great start. We got a lot of the heavy hitters up front. Look at this. Tomac said he had to be in front of Roczen. He gets around him early. That is huge because these guys are in a massive, intense battle right now, especially when it comes to speed.
Roczen got him. They're about 5th and 6th, but he did make the pass on his rival Tomac as Tinkle on the 20 tries to get away. Brayton and Musquin right with him, and they're all scrambling to figure out where is the traction. And how about Roczen leaping around Cole Seeley, who's on the number 14. Ken Roczen already up to 4th place.
Roczen's ability to slice through the traffic on the opening laps is amazing. His anticipation of where to go, where not to go. Look at him. He goes to the outside, leads him with an option. Do I cut up the inside or just do that? Try to go the long way around. Watch. Now he'll square it, come across to the other side of the track. His favorite line down the right-hand side. Still gains time even after a little mistake coming out of that corner.
Yeah, swapping from one side of the track to the other and still making up ground on the number 10 of Brayton. There is Tickle. What happened to Marvin Musquin to the 25? He got zapped in a hurry, and he's been shoved back to about 6th place.
Yeah, we've seen this in both the opening motos from both classes. Guys just getting shuffled back. I think maybe a little cautious. Tomac tried to get around the outside of Seeley where he got him in the first moto. Tomac had said, I let Roczen by, and I think that was the biggest mistake early in the race because I was behind him, and it was just an uphill battle trying to stay with him from there on. Once again, Roczen was just ahead. Tomac did get by, and Roczen right back at him. And look at him, goes off to Brayton around the outside.
And he's got him. Nicely done. They race past that Fram Mechanics area, now uphill, and Roxon has taken second place away. And this is desperate time if you're Brayton to the 10, Sealy on the 14, or that green number 3, Monster Energy Kawasaki of Tomac. You can't let Roxon pull away early in this race.
No, you cannot. Eli Tomac is probably the closest as far as matching speed with Roxon. But look at Roxon. He sliced through the pack and he pulled away 3 roughly seconds just from that exact same point the lap before, only because he's getting through traffic better.
All right, Tomac working on the 14. Sealy, who's on that red factory Honda Racing ride.
How about this for RCH, though? 1 and 2, as we see.
Riders in the pits already. That's Alex Ray, privateer on Husqvarna. Must have run into maybe someone in that first turn where things always bottleneck. So, Brock Tickle, who was 3rd fastest in qualifying earlier today, always seems to do well on these rough and rutted tracks. Originally from North Carolina, so he's raced here before. Oh, Tomac making moves.
Tomac coming 2 riders while he was out of shot. So he saw that number 94 yellow Suzuki of Ken Roxon starting to disappear. And he, well, there's no other way to put it. Put the hammer down now.
Let's send it to Georgia down trackside. Talk about the recovery in between motos on a rough day like this.
Andrew Short was wearing this ice jacket. It's filled with stuff that goes in the freezer. He wears this on the start line to keep his body temperature cooled down. Tell you what, it helps when you're sitting there on the starting line.
Try to keep the body temperature cool as long as possible. They'll bring fans down to the starting line area. They'll use their signboards and use those as fans, but
umbrellas.
Doesn't really matter now. We're just 4 minutes into a 30-minute plus 2-lap race, and they're all sweating already at this point of the moto, I can guarantee it. Roxon making it even hotter as he applies the heat to his teammate Tickle. They race past the Fram Mechanics area. Roxon going to try to make the pass on the outside. He's got it.
Yeah, Tickle took a look over. I don't think Brock put up a huge fight. At this point, I think for Brock, the best thing as Ken Roxon's teammate, just try and latch on. Basically, take that lasso and try and, wrap it around him and go with him. Follow his lines, do exactly what he's doing because, well, Roxon's been the fastest man on track all season long.
All right, so this is going to be tough for Tomac. He's going to have to get around Roxon's teammate if he wants second. And while he's battling Tickle fourth, that might allow Roxon to get away. So Tomac digging deep right now. The young man out of Colorado, his dad a legend of American mountain and road cycling. It doesn't get much tougher, the program that the Tomacs have put together as far as physical training is concerned, and he's going to need all of that to try to close the gap on Roxon late here in the race day. We've already had 1 moto complete and Moto 2. Let's see if he can close the gap as you look at your overall event points. In prime time, Saturday, July 16th on NBC. Your old buddy Travis Pastrana, who you battled with quite a bit in the motocross days, helping to put that together. Now, by the way, you see this building right here? That is a historic landmark in this area, and we've actually have our trophies for today that are modeled after that landmark right down Interstate 81. We're in Blountville, Tennessee, not far from Bristol, the famous NASCAR track.
Pretty fitting for being in Tennessee. Get the guitars.
Yeah. Well, I know you took the tour of Nashville on your way into town on Thursday.
Loved it.
Who's going to get the biggest trophy and the biggest bottle of champagne? Will it be Ken Roxon here at the 94 or his arch nemesis, Eli Tomac? While we're away at break, Tomac, very aggressive, was able to pass the second place rider, Brock Tickle, but he's got work to do. 4 seconds is the gap between Roxon and Tomac. Now, Tomac was able to bridge that gap and catch him in the first moto. Here's how he got second here.
Yeah, Tickle was committed to the outside and then hesitated right there. Tomac did not. He was coming in, took the line away, clean, smart, just going wherever the number 20 wasn't. So Tomac now in a second, so nothing between him and Ken Roxon except a little bit of daylight. So this is going to come down to mental toughness for the next 15, 20 minutes, in my opinion, before the end of the race. Can he start reeling in our leader? We've seen with Roxon, every time you think, oh man, Tomac might have his number now, Roxon able to pull it back out.
Great ride for Tickle here in 3rd place. That's the teammate of Roxon. So the Soaring Eagle, Jimmy John Suzuki's have both podium positions right now with Tomac sandwiched between them. Then it's Cole Sealy 4th, Marvin Muscat 5th, Justin Brayton 6th, Weston Pike, Blake Baggett, Christoph Porcel, and Justin Barsha rounding out your top 10. Here is Sealy in 4th place. California trying to close in on Tickle. And a contrast in styles. Sealy, a West Coast rider, so the heat and humidity, the soft terrain, and the rut's a little different for him. The rider he's trying to catch, Tickle, is from North Carolina. He raced at this track growing up.
Yeah, different walks of life, but... And then you got Marvin Muscat. I mean, he's from France, so that's the thing with this series. You got to deal with a lot of elements, a lot of weather conditions, different tracks, different terrain.
Tickle's best moto finish this year is an 8th, and he's running 3rd right now. Been a slow start to the series for him, and he's running very well. Here's the BTOsports.com KTM of Justin Brayton, a veteran, and he has actually moved to the North Carolina area, originally out of Iowa. So he brings his wife Paige and his daughter Parker to the races today. It's a family affair for a lot of these riders who are based on the East Coast and get the chance to drive to the races for once. Weston Pike, Californian. This is one of the toughest, most aggressive riders in this sport. A solid 5th in the first moto, 7th right now.
Well, if you see him without his gear and helmet on, he looks like a street fighter more than a motocrosser. Blake Baggett on that number 4 Yoshimura Suzuki, coming back from a shoulder injury. We believe it was a broken collarbone. We heard it was also a torn rotator cuff. So, Georgia, what do you got for us?
I spoke to Blake earlier and I said, you are one tough guy, honestly, because we know he finished a moto, or tried to finish a moto with that broken collarbone. However, he took time off. He is back and riding right now. He said it's sore, but obviously adrenaline, race pace kind of changes things a little bit. But he's really holding up the team because his teammate, number 7, James Stewart, is at home. He did get injured also at Hangtown, but he's also awaiting a baby at home.
Yeah, that's right. James Stewart, former champion of the series, is on the baby watch right now, so not competing this weekend. So Baggett carrying the flag for the Yoshimura Suzuki team on that number 4.
And Baggett had a very solid first moto. I mean, knowing that you've come from surgery, you're behind the 8 ball, so to speak, he put in a great performance, fighting all the way to the end. So we know he wasn't sitting on the couch these last few weeks. He's been a guarantee on that stationary bike quite a bit.
Baggett here on the number 4 told me the shoulder's so bad when people call him, he cannot lift his cell phone up. He said he's actually laid the cell phone down on the fender of his bike and put it on a speakerphone because he can't even lift his arm over his head. He can just barely get it done here on the motorcycle. 8th in the first moto today, and right now 8th in Moto 2. That is amazing that he's able to do this. And I know in motocross they say, oh, isn't the motorcycle doing all the work? Trust me, these guys' shoulders, arms, legs, knees, they're being stretched and stressed to the max. Next is the Frenchman, Rockstar Husqvarna of Christophe Pourcel. That's the white bike here. He was very good in the first moto, led for a little bit, and finished 4th. Not quite the same here in Moto 2.
A lot of it comes back to the start, like we said. When you're up front, it's a lot easier to go from 1st to 4th if you're not quite fast enough. Justin Barsha, someone else that kind of needs a breakthrough ride in 2016. He's shown a little bit of promise here and there, and he's had some starts, but it seems like between mistakes and, yeah, just being off the pace at times. We know the number 51, nicknamed Bam Bam, as you can tell by his riding style, it kind of suits him.
Yeah, he just smashes the track. Not a great start for Barsha here, but he's quickly made up, see, 25 positions to get into that spot, which is 10th. And your starting gate picks, by the way, in these motos are based on your first moto finish. So if you struggle like Barsha did, he didn't finish that one, he has to take an outside gate. That's why he had to make so many passes to even get into the top 10 here. As we go back to Brayton and Pike, battling it out for 6th and 7th.
Brayton also someone that's shown that he can run near the front. Now with a good start, like you said, back on the East Coast, I think where he's comfortable, more familiar, feeling comfortable. He's looking good, but don't look over your shoulder, Justin Brayton, because there's Weston Pike coming. There's probably one guy you don't want to see breathing down your neck. It's got to be the number 28. He makes a little mistake. That corner has been so tricky. What it is it disappears over that crest, and there's ruts going to the left. Your momentum pulls you to the right, so a very tricky corner.
Track leaning away from you, so Brayton, Pike, Baggett, that's the orange, blue, and yellow machines fighting to try to get inside the top 5. This is our first moto, our GoPro track preview. We're going to show you what it's like to hop on board with Cole Seeley.
This is fun. Listen.
That's what it's like to lead one of these things, too.
It looks great when there's no one in front of you, I promise you. It's like... It's the nicest thing you can ever experience as a motocross racer until that.
That was Phil Nicoletti making the move on Seeley early in our first moto. It's moto number 2 now. These guys are tired. They're hot. They're fighting with everything they've got. DSN. Those falls are only about 15 miles from our track here, so if you want to come out and watch the race next year, then go check that out. On Sunday, we got a wide open day for you. Or you can take your motorcycle and come race amateur racing. That's one of the cool things about motocross. You can actually do this, get out on the same track as these guys on the same weekend, And there's a lot of riders that came through the ranks at this track that have worked their way into professional standing now. Here are your overall event points. That's when we combine your first moto with your second. And you see Seely will end up on the podium third overall. Tomac, 6 points in back of Roczen. If he can pass him in this moto, that'll be 3 more points for Tomac, 3 fewer points for Roczen.
Exactly.
Tomac will get the overall win. So it all comes down to this final moto. Can Tomac in second place catch Ken Roczen? The last 3 laps, they have been almost identical in speed, down to the 10th of a second.
And the reason Tomac would get the overall, even though they tie on points, is it's the second moto finish that supersedes Moto 1. Oh, Muskin there. Basically making contact with a lapper, but he's gotten Seely.
Yep. That's 4th place for Muscan. Hey, we're halfway through this moto. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. 15 minutes, you can save 15% or more on your insurance if you call Geico. Seely going to try to go back after Muscan. Seely is clinging to that top 3 overall position on the podium. But if he gets passed again, it could change in a hurry. So Muscan passing him on that Red Bull KTM, that's not going to make Seely here in the 14 happy. He's got to try to stick with him. The next rider in order would be Weston Pike. See if he can put some pressure on Seely.
Yeah, Seely had a great opening moto. I think leading basically half of it. Great confidence booster for him. Another solid second moto. A little bit different with not, being out front for as long as he was, but still, Cole Seely every weekend now just making what I consider very, little increments, but he keeps moving forward. I think he gets better week by week in outdoors. Dropping back through the pack, you can still see a freight train of riders, a lot of positions to be gained or lost. And we're getting that time of the day, Jason, when the tongue is starting to hang out.
That's not a Michael Jordan trash talk move. That's just fatigue. Mouth is open, they're breathing hard. Weston Pike in 6th, dealing with Blake Baggett, who's right behind him on the yellow number 4. And Justin Barsha is just behind Baggett. You'll see him in some of our longer shots here. So it's a 3-rider duel for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Oh, Baggett's got an inside line on Pike. Got a little sideways.
Well, now you got lap traffic. Pike might get held up a little bit here. He doesn't know where to go. Up the inside. Oh, the lapper gets sandwiched, and Baggett, opportunist, goes a long way around. Smart man went where there was some clear real estate. He gets the pass done. Now you got Barsha coming in.
Didn't need much of an opening. Phil Nicoletti, we hear, who led a little bit in the first moto earlier today, is now out of this moto into the Fran Mechanics area. And his teammates, Pike and Barsha, duking it out here in the Auto Trader, Monster Energy, Joe Gibbs Racing, Toyota, Yamahas. Inside line for Pike, able to hold off Barsha, his teammate. And a big mistake on the takeoff of the jump by Pike.
Wow, that could have not been pretty at all. But Pike, a very strong physical rider, pulls that bike back. But you do not want to get cross-rutted on a takeoff of the jump, meaning where one wheel's in one rut and the other wheel's in another rut, because when the suspension rebounds, really deflects, throws you sideways, could throw you on the ground as well.
So Barsha has made the pass. We'll reset it for you. Seely is back to 5th there after being passed by Muscan. Then comes Baggett, who you just saw in the yellow machine. Then it's Barsha. Then Pike, Purcell, and Brayton round out the top 10. So Brayton is the one that's been shuffled back now. Muscan was the one pushed back earlier. Muscan has made a comeback to get into 4th. And we're looking at the overall event points from this one. Tickle, he needs one of these guys to get Seely, and that will put Tickle onto the overall podium for the day. If they can catch Seely, that would change our top 3 and who gets to shake champagne at the end of this one. They're not too far back. About 9 seconds they'd have to make up down the stretch, and Baggett's got a ton of pressure. Barsha is coming. So Barsha did not finish the first moto. He's fresh for this one, trying to close the gap. Back here at the Red Bull Tennessee National, Ken Roczen, trying to win the championship this year, will not have to go through last year's champ Ryan Dungey. This guy is an all-timer. He leads all active riders in this class in career podiums, moto wins, and overall wins, but he is out. Broke a bone in his back a couple of weeks ago, but for Dungey, a guy who's almost never injured, it's a rare chance to get some rest and relaxation.
The crash at Thunder Valley, it was just a rare mistake. Came into a rut a little too fast.
Oh, and that is Dungey down!
I knew I wasn't going to go for the bars and just tuck the front, and then that's when I rolled into the bank and kind of ended up rolling on kind of my neck or head area.
Donji is down on the first lap.
When I got back up and was finishing the race, I definitely felt something was different, but I thought it was just sore. You know, I thought I just riled myself up and hit my neck pretty good. But later during the week, we got things checked out, and that's when we saw that there was a fracture in the C6 vertebrae. It's definitely tough to miss the rest of the season, but 10 years in, you know, I definitely feel like the 10 years prior to this point have been great. I've been very fortunate, you know, been able to be healthy, injury-free. The sport can be tough at times for sure, and it has been within my career, but nothing long-term. And this one being the longest, going to miss 9 races. I think the most I missed before was 4 or 5, and having to sit out on the races and watch from home, it's like, you know, when you know you should be there, that's the hardest part. Sitting here now thinking about everything and, you know, being able to enjoy other parts of my life that I haven't got to in a while is good, but it also, I think, can be good to recharge and come back for one good push within the sport. You know, I don't know the future or how many years of racing and so forth right now, but I'm still committed for next year, and for me that's important to live up to my word, and I want to make the fullest of it.
One of the most durable riders ever was struck down this year, but even in that crash, he still got up and finished that race in 4th place before realizing he was hurt and couldn't race the rest of the year. So it's up to Eli Tomac now to try to dig into the lead that Ken Roczen has. 4.5 seconds. It was 5.5 at one point. So Tomac's not giving up, but we are hitting the waning moments. 4 minutes before the 2 laps to go board comes out. Can the young German continue his run? We say it every moto basically this year. He's won all but one moto this year. And the only one he didn't win was when he had problems with the front suspension of his motorcycle. When everything has been working correctly, he has been undefeated this year. Tomac trying to change that. And look at this, barely dropping off from his fast lap time. This guy's in some sort of physical condition.
Well, he's in great shape. He's also really fast as well, but Eli Tomac is closing each and every week because he, I think, is now pushing Roczen to that next level. Because look at the gap these guys have in the rest of the pack. Half a minute to 3rd behind Tomac.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see who's going to take the win. Roczen trying to finish it off here at Muddy Creek, and Tomac trying to pull the upset. We're back. It's the Red Bull Tennessee National. Final moments, 3 laps to go. And motocross, one of the most physically demanding sports in the world. You are seeing a full test of fitness here. Ken Roczen in the lead. At one point, his gap was 5 seconds over this man, Eli Tomac. But Tomac has chopped it down to 2.3 seconds. He was 3 seconds quicker than Roczen the last time around. So now with it's about 2.5 laps to go, you can start to see them in the same section of racetrack. Tomac's got his teeth in them.
And this is exactly what Tomac wanted, because right now the adrenaline's through the roof. He is, you know, feeling it. He wants this so bad. Tomac has probably had to answer a lot of questions. What's going on this year? Why haven't you won? Where's the old Eli Tomac? We're starting to see it. We've seen signs of brilliance in the last couple of weeks, but he hasn't put the whole package together. Now, Roczen, this moto, seems to be having more trouble with the lappers. First moto, Tomac hit the lappers at the wrong place, wrong time, almost every time, and this gap is small, and the crowd are on their feet and cheering.
Race past the Fry Mechanics area, now hooking onto the start straight. It'll be 2 to go, and Tomac is right there. And another mistake from Roczen. Tomac continues to close.
That gap is shrinking. 2 laps to go when they get to the finish line. I can hear the fans going ballistic right now. Huge crowd here in Bluntville, Tennessee. Look, 2-lap car, another mistake from Roczen.
Tomac's got an opening. He's down to the inside. Can he make it work? Roczen knows he's there now. He can hear the motorcycle and the fans.
And the air horns.
Tomac again down to the inside. This is a series of left-hand turns, and Tomac has set himself up brilliantly for it. Roczen able to beat him to the spot. Look at Tomac hugging all the way to the inside. Lines almost came together there.
Well, that's what Tomac has to do. He cannot follow Ken Roczen, even though Ken Roczen might take the premier line. Slight little mistake there from Tomac. Little bit of breathing room.
It's what Roczen has been so good at this year. Tomac has gotten close to him a few times, such as in the first moto earlier today, but Roczen always able to respond. Now this section has been great for Roczen. In the first moto, he was leaping and staying lower over this jump. They were about even this time.
Yeah, obviously Tomac had a look between motos and tried to figure out where he was losing time, because he's almost trying to mirror exactly what Roczen is doing in the sections where he is strong. Different line selection there. Oh, these guys are giving it absolutely everything on the limit.
There's a few sections where Tomac just stays with him, and then a few other sections where he takes a different line. That's where he's looking for daylight. Oh, Roczen off the track.
That
Able to recover.
That could have been way worse. Luckily, there was nothing that affected him like a bank or a banner.
Tomac, right there. He's got a wheel on it. To the inside.
Oh, they go past the Fram Mechanics area, and the mechanics are going crazy, waving the towels, getting their riders pumped up. Tomac to the outside. He switched up his line there.
They're going to come together. There's only one line up this hill. No, Tomac's going to invent a new one. He goes from outside to inside. They come together.
Contact.
Roczen able to hold him off. Tomac on the outside again, wide open through these ruts.
He might have him now. They're side by side, different lines. Roczen's got the shorter line. Tomac takes a long way around. White flag, 1 lap to go.
It's heart, guts, will. At this point, these guys got to be exhausted. Heart rate's through the roof, but the fans are cheering him on. Tomac has yet to win a moto this year. If he wins this moto, he also takes the weekend's overall. But perhaps bigger than that, this would be huge momentum in the championship if he can take it away from Roczen in a straight-up fight.
You've got to give credit to Roczen, though. He is really dealing with this intense pressure quite well. Tomac has thrown everything at him, and Roczen just keeps responding.
The 120-foot uphill triple, they both negotiated perfectly. Now a tight corner, and this section right here is going to get tricky. There's 2 lap riders ahead of them. Tomac in the inside.
That corner, unfortunately, becomes 1 line. This section here, I think Tomac's been able to improve a little bit, which means he's not losing ground to Roczen, but he is stronger, I think, in these last few turns. Is he going to have a chance?
Well, he used this inside, and this right-hander coming up. He's on the inside again. He runs it in deep. Couldn't get a clean exit.
He made a mistake. He was fully committed to that one, Jason. He knows time's running out. He's given it everything. It was at his last chance. More lap traffic coming up. Is this going to play a factor? Oh! One of the lappers almost got cross-rutted, thought he might have jumped across Roczen. He's trying to get out of the way.
We've seen a couple times here at Muddy Creek, those 2 or 3 corners leading to the finish. Passes being made there, so Tomac has that potentially as a last chance. Past the Fram Mechanics area. They're going to work their way uphill, and then it's a series of right-hand corners that'll lead them to the finish.
He's got to get a little closer. There's too much of a distance. Hopefully the lapper gets out of the way. Tomac goes up the inside.
Lapper did. He saw Tomac. He's got to be closer than this, though. This is the final stretch. Here are those right-hand turns I was talking about. Does Roczen have him covered?
He's protecting that inside. Smart move. Make your competitor go the long way around. He's not close enough. It's Tomac.
Under pressure in both motos, Ken Roczen sweeps it, goes 1-1 at Muddy Creek, and shows once again why he's the championship points leader. He's won all but 1 moto, 9 out of 10 this year. That was the closest challenge he had down to a checkered flag this season, but despite the big points lead, he doesn't care about that. He wants to win every time he's on the track.
Winners want to win no matter what, and that was a winning performance right there under huge pressure from Eli Tomac. Hats off to these guys. They put on a great show. That was exciting to watch.
Absolutely. We were wondering who was going to step up. In the absence of Dungey, it's Eli Tomac. He gave Roczen all he could handle.
You can see it by his facial expressions as well. That was a hard fought, both physically and mentally. But Tomac going in the right direction.
These guys have been duking it out actually since they were kids. Roczen used to come to the United States and run some amateur races, and they used to battle it out. They're pretty friendly with each other off the track, but they're the 2 guys that want to win these races the most. Let's send it to Georgia.
Yes, Ken Roczen is just cooling off slightly right now, getting the cool water on him. It is definitely some hot conditions out there. I'll let him just get comfortable for a moment, but that was one of the most unbelievable motos of the year so far. Great racing, and Ken Roczen, I know you're hot and this weather's crazy, but you responded when you needed to, and that was the most important thing. That was a crazy race, but you did respond. How do you feel?
I feel good. You know, this is the way you want to win a race. I mean, he was pushing in the last couple laps, and it's all about how bad you want it, and got away with another 1-1, so I can't complain. It's definitely a lot hotter here today as it was in the previous days, so weekends. So starting Gil Jimmy Jatsugi worked great today, and we're going to keep charging.
All right, that was the first time we've really seen Eli Tomac battle with you. What are you going to do next week to make sure you stay on the game?
I'm just going to do my thing, keep doing what I've been doing the whole time. Seems to work, and both of my starts weren't the greatest, but second start I could, you know, get good in the first turn. And overall, though, I'm super happy. 1-1.
Well, congratulations to Ken Roczen. We know that a routine is a big part of why he wins these races, so we'll let him carry on.
Well, he logs a lot of motos and training sessions down in the heat and humidity of Florida to prepare for races like this. He was under fire, and he was cool under that pressure. Back here at Muddy Creek, fantastic racing. We'll show you the Lucas Oil race recap. First, battle of the teammates, Soaring Eagle Jimmy John Suzuki. Brock Tickle led early. Ken Roczen trying to get around him on the 94. He goes a long way to the outside. Tickle did not put up much resistance for his teammate. Tried to make it tougher on Eli Tomac, who would eventually get second. And then he caught Roczen, and it was a battle to the end.
Yeah, Tomac gave it everything he had through that Roczen, but Roczen did not crack under pressure. 1-1 once again, but nice improvement from Tomac, something to build on moving forward. But look at these guys. They went at it all the way to the end.
Tomac went so deep into that corner on the entry that he was a little bit slow on the exit, and that gave Roczen a tiny bit of breathing room. 20th career Moto win, 9th career overall victory for Roczen, who has won 4 of the 5 overall wins this season. Perfect score when we total up the 2 motos. Tomac just behind him both times. Brock Tickle on the overall podium today. First one this year, and first one actually, I believe, since 2012. So well done for Brock. Let's check in with Eli Tomac, who's with Georgia Lindsay.
Yes, thank you, Eli, for an absolutely amazing race to watch. Now, that was the first time we've seen you from the beginning battle with Ken Roczen. He did finish with the win, but you were so close. What was going on?
I mean, we were both just in the zone. That's all you can really say about it. We were both nailing all of our lines and clicking our laps off. In the middle of the race, he was a little ways ahead of me, you know, and kind of got out of touch. Brought him back a little bit at the end, but he rode pretty flawless. And man, he was in front of me right away, and he got me. You know, Ken's riding pretty awesome right now. So we'll keep working. We're getting closer. Thanks to Monster Energy Kawasaki. We'll be back next week and fight another day.
Now, this is the first time, like I said, we've seen you both so close. Does it give you more of an idea of how Ken Roczen is riding because you are so close behind him?
Yeah, I mean that was cool to be there. You know, I felt like out here we were taking a few different lines from each other, so that was kind of cool to see. You know, and we were both fast. We both had our good areas for sure, where he would get me and then I would get him a little bit. Man, I want to be the guy crossing that line first next week.
Well, thank you. Congratulations on second overall, and best of luck next weekend.
Beginning of the year, it was about 30 seconds at the end of the race between those guys. Now it was 1.8 at the end of this one. So Tomac's closing, but he's got a big gap to make up in the series standings as well. The idle and injured Ryan Dungey goes back to 5th as we take the points from today. Cole Seeley now 3rd in the overall points rankings. 5 races out of 12 in this championship are complete. Marvin Muscan, after a tough start to the season, has climbed to 4th. Hey, let's celebrate on the podium. Brock Tickle, nicely done.
Yes, huge congratulations, Brock Tickle, 3rd overall with the 6-3 today here at Muddy Creek. 2 teammates on the podium together. Like we spoke earlier, and you have been progressing. You said you had the best week you've had so far. I mean, how does it feel being up here on the podium?
I mean, it's so awesome. I can't thank everybody enough who's been behind me. The whole RCH, Soaring Eagle, Jimmy John's team. I've had a couple of injuries over the last couple of years, but finally gaining some confidence and momentum. Just thank everybody else, my wife, my trainer Garrett Swanepoel, Arai, X-Brand, TCX, Answer, everybody else who's been behind me. I appreciate it.
And do you think there's more to come with Brock Tickle? Now you're up here once, you've got a taste on it. You think it's going to be more of it?
I want more. There's no better feeling than this right here. And I didn't know if I had it or not. I just kept charging and pacing myself with the guy behind me to stay in 3rd. So keep building momentum and see what we can do the rest of the season.
Congratulations, Brock Tickle with 3rd overall.
And Tickle, originally from Cary, North Carolina, and anyone in the southeastern region of the U.S. has come and lived this racetrack. They would stay at the track, race here. Tickle's logged a lot of laps, and that probably helps when a track gets this rough.
Yeah, we've seen the ruts really become a factor in today's outcome and results. They're not going to get any shallower. They only get deeper, but man, this track has really, I guess, brought the best and the worst out of any rider. It's either exaggerated their maybe issues or shown how good they can be when it gets really technical. Tomac, Roczen, now we've got the 250 guys coming up. There's our podium. Really happy for Brock Tickle. I know It's been a while. It's been a bit of a drought. Eli Tomac, great job, buddy. Thanks for putting on a great show and really fighting for everything. And then Ken Roczen just getting it done. Once
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah, good start, bad start. He's found a way to make it happen. Here's your Lucas Oil upcoming schedule. We're not done racing today. Switch over to NBCSN as soon as we're done. 4:30 Eastern, we'll have our 250 class. Smaller bikes and very young, aggressive riders. The racing there is usually spectacular. And in the big one, probably the biggest crowd of the year next weekend. That's for July 4th. It's Motocross style celebration at Redbud. MAV TV, NBCSN will have your coverage at 1 and 3. So that's your upcoming schedule in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Yeah, they're popping the champagne, and the fans here at Muddy Creek enjoyed it. A great day for racing on a great track, great weather. And we had a great show with Tomac bringing the heat on Roczen right to the end, and Roczen proving that it's going to be hard to knock him off that top spot.
E.T. phoned home.
Yeah.
He finally did. He came back to where he belongs. That's on the podium.
All right, that could set up a great showdown between those two for the rest of the year. And what's funny is that's how motocross works. We mentioned all the riders that were born and raised racing in this track. Roczen and Tomac have kind of matched each other and marked each other since they were young kids, 14, 15 years old. We knew the day would come where they were in the premier class in their 20s and still battling for wins like they were as kids.
Talented, hardworking guys, no matter which route they go, whether it's from Europe, Australia, South Africa, America. You put the effort in, you got the talent, do all the little things, and it pays off. We know that Roczen wanted to come out this year and really prove to everyone that he was the man to beat. Tomac wanted to prove that he could continue where he left off last year. Look at these fans, unbelievable.
It's a superb. So a great afternoon for motocross, and it's not over. Switch over to NBCSN in just a minute, and we'll have our final race of the day in the 250 class. Congrats to Ken Roczen taking another win. That's 4 out of 5 this year for his team. For Grant Langston and Georgia Lindsay, I'm Jason Wygant saying so long for now, but we're going to switch to the 250 class on NBCSN, so turn us on.